Hey guys, welcome back to the shop again. This is Daniel, Boss C351's Productions. Today we're going to start the second build, which is the 2013 F-150 3.5 Ecoboost engine. Now this particular engine, this is not a new block. This is the customer's used block. We've had it machined, pretty much checked. He was not able to wash it, so I had to power wash it and clean it myself. His cleaning machine went down. But I just got it back today and we're going to start the build video. Now this video is going to be different from the last one. I'm just going to video it from start to finish and cut out the parts that just don't need to be videoed for time constraints. This is going to be a long video. Also, do note, this engine goes together exactly the same as the 11 and 12 engines, except for the turbos are different. And the passenger side head has the vacuum pump incorporated in it, where on the 11 and 12 engines the vacuum pump is actually separate and behind the driver's side headlight. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put our coolant restrictors in. You remember these from the initial build. The same thing goes with this one. Put them in the same way, just like that. Push them in. Same thing for the other side. Now this point goes forward on the engine, so when you put them in, make sure the point goes forward. Okay, we've got those in. Next, we're going to put in the engine dowels, or the head dowels, and the AC compressor dowel. So, first one we're going to put in here, just hammer it in lightly with a rubber mallet or a dead blow. Doesn't take much, they go in pretty easily. They go in easier than they come out. So remember in the initial video I told you this particular engine was built missing one, so I had to order a set of 2 dowels to get 1 dowel. And just in case you're needing some dowels, here's the part number for it. Hopefully you can read that. Those are the correct dowels for the 3.5 Ecoboost heads. Next, we're going to put in the AC compressor dowels in the side of the block here. I always like to put these in so I can get it out of the way so I don't forget them, so later on I won't have to be hunting them down. I'll put the AC compressor in. Next, we have 3 block plugs. You should have 3 of these. Now, the Ford book says to replace this one. I have never had to replace it as long as that O-ring is good, not torn. But I am going to put some sealer on it. Just get you some thread sealer, good quality thread sealer. I'm using Loctite thread sealer. It's not Loctite, it's actually thread sealer. Thread dope, whatever you want to call it. If I can get it to ooze out. And all you want to do is decently coat the threads. Don't go overboard on it, it's not necessary. Just smear it in there, make sure it covers the threads good. Going this way, it'll keep stuff from oozing up to and trying to get past that O-ring. Now this particular plug goes in the back of the block. Now I have to have a special socket to put it in. I picked these up at Harbor Freight. They come in a full set. This particular one, I'm sorry, is a Craftsman 17mm. I had to go grab it real quick at the store. But there's another set at Harbor Freight that comes with several of these. Now this is 17mm, goes in the back of the block. Just screw it in. Good and tight. And that's it. Now the next one here, it also takes a special socket. Now this one's Harbor Freight. It's a 14. Go ahead and put sealer on the threads on this one. Just make sure you get good and uniform coverage. Because as you screw it in, it's going to displace some of this stuff and build up in the threads. Give it a good seal. Now this one's going to go on the driver's side of the block, and the port in the middle. Tighten it down, again good and tight. You don't have to wrench down on this stuff, just get it in there. Give it just a little, once it starts getting tight, just give it a little bit more. What you don't want to do is crack the block because you put it in too tight. You also do not want to use thread tape. Thread tape will not displace like this sealer will. Thread tape is a no-no. When you're building an engine or putting certain fittings together, because it will make the material that you're putting the pipe plug in crack. So that's why we use a liquid thread seal. Here's the last one, and that is a number 8 socket. Eight Allen socket. Put it on there good uniform. Now this particular plug goes here. It's under the bigger hole in the block next to the first cylinder. There's a big hole and then a smaller one. That smaller one's what it goes in. Same thing, just get it good and tight. And that's it. Next thing I'm going to do, and this is what I messed up on the last build. I caught myself and recovered from it. We're going to go ahead and put in the knock sensor. Yes, at this point, let's go ahead and put it in so we don't forget it like I did last time and have to use a little ingenuity to get it in, get them installed. So what we're going to do, the wires are offset. One's longer than the other. So we'll just put these in here. And we're going to run it down. We're going to torque it to 88 inch-pounds. 88 inch-pounds is all these get. Just take your harness, run it out the back of the engine. That's all you need. Now the dome part of the sensor, there's a flat part and the dome part of the sensor. The dome part goes up, flat part goes down against the block. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. That's all it takes. Okay, and that's it. Now up next we have our piston cooling valves. It's these little valves that fit in the mains. They shoot oil up into your pistons to cool them off. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to clean our piston cooling valves, which are these here. Make sure that they flow properly, which is going to blow air through them. Now I've soaked these in mineral spirits for a couple of days to get the gunk out of them, loosen it up on the inside. Now remember from one of the build-up videos, I showed you this little setup. This is an air gun. It's got this adapter that comes with the air gun. You can get them at Harbor Freight. I don't remember where I got this one. This is Campbell Haas Field. This, no telling how old this is, but they come with all these various fittings. Just go to Harbor Freight, pick you one up, and they'll have this fitting, and these screw right into it. What a coincidence. So all we're going to do, screw each of them in. We're going to press the air and feel with our fingers. Make sure it's a uniform stream. The further out it gets, the wider it is. Make sure it's just uniform all the way around. Now if you're just getting air here and nothing over here, it means you got a restriction somewhere in this valve. So I've gone through each of these valves already and verified that they all work correctly. Come out about 6 inches, you can tell if it's stopped up or not. And if it comes back stopped up, then what you're going to do, you're going to have to hold the valve in backwards with your fingers. Put this end in and use something like this while you're pressing the air and to press this ball. And what it'll do is it'll blow everything back the other direction and out this side. So anything that won't fit through this little hole will come through this big hole. And that's what I do to get them clean. And then if you want to, you can soak them even longer in mineral spirits, but they normally won't come very much cleaner than this right here. But that's how you clean these. Now we're going to install them. We're going to use a number 5 Allen bit, or Allen socket. And we're going to use our speed handle tool, just like in the last video. And we're just going to install them one at a time to where they touch, then we're going to come back and torque them. Now remember, I didn't torque the ones in my last engine. I just used a little common sense when I put them in. Good and tight's tight enough. Of course, we couldn't find the specs, and then later down the road, I was able to find the specs for these. I don't know how I missed them. So we're just going to run it down with the speed handle. Make sure you don't cross thread them. If it stops, you stop. You stop right there. Another one. That one. Unfortunately, guys, if you have a failure and you're finding metal flakes, a lot of metal flakes in your VVT solenoids when you pull them out, save yourself some time and some money. Go ahead and pull the Turbocharger filters, those filters that filter the oil going to the turbochargers. Go ahead and pull those out. If you got to pull the engine, you got to pull the engine. But when you pull those out and you got metal in them, you might as well go ahead and take the engine and pull the crank out of it, because you're going to have to clean each and every one of these. You're probably just going to have to go ahead and clean the entire engine. And that's what I'm going to end up having to do here shortly with my 13. Because I had some Stage 3 CR Performance turbochargers that I put on. And in less than 20,000 miles, I had a turbocharger failure. Needless to say, I'm not very happy with CR Performance, because once I figured out what exactly happened, you can reach inside the turbo and you can wobble the shaft, wobble the turbine shaft. I contacted them. They weren't even the slightest interested in assisting me after I spent, let's see, I spent what, $2,200, $2,300 on those turbochargers. Bought their CR Performance manifolds. I bought a lot of stuff from them, several thousands of dollars worth of stuff. And that's how I'm treated by a Canadian company. Well, that's okay. Once you burn me, I don't use you no more. I don't care who you are, what you sell, what your name is. You burn me on some parts, you don't even offer some assistance with the part. You know, we're just very little mileage on these turbochargers. I mean, we're talking about, you know, maybe 5 oil changes. There's no rhyme or reason why that turbocharger went out. I went from a fully clean, brand, you know, everything I'm doing to this one I did to my 13, and cleaned everything up, power washed it, all new Ford parts, everything. And apparently from day one, I was having an oil usage problem that I could not find where the oil was coming from. Or, you know, I knew I was losing oil. I knew I was going out the exhaust. You know, I tried to use catch cans to catch it. I almost lost the engine because it initially, you know, the oil got down really low before I mean, right after I built the engine, it got down really low and couldn't figure out why. No catch cans, no nothing on it. Just driving. Filled it up back with oil and it slowly dropping in. Well, you know, you think, you know, you put all these new parts on, these parts are from trustworthy companies, you know, it can't be your brand new parts. Well, after chasing down every single thing I could think of, I finally pulled all the turbo tubes off, everything, you know, inspected both turbos, reached off in there, and you could just wobble the turbine shaft. You could look off in there and you could see where the turbine had already, you know, struck the housing and then wore down the turbine, the housing, everything. So the whole thing's crap. You know, you can't use it anymore. It's no good. And those were my housings put on their turbocharger cartridges. So needless to say, I'm not happy with them. Like I said, I won't be suggesting using their parts on any of my future videos until they give me you know, at least a chance to see why it failed. You know, the other one didn't fail. Just one side failed. And it had been a bane of my existence for a long time, using oil. Finally found out that's where it was. It looks like it's been doing that since day one. So most likely, the best that I can figure, logically, is when they took the turbocharger apart to put their bigger wheels on it and they put it back together, they damaged the internal seals on the turbocharger. And when they did that, well, you know, all bets are off. It was sitting there blowing out my oil, going up into the engine, going out the exhaust the whole time. And I almost lost an engine at that. So that's the way some of these companies are. That's why I went with Garrett, and I'm gonna stay with Garrett. Garrett's been out for a long time. This engine's gonna get Garrett turbochargers. My 13 EcoBoosts are gonna get Garrett turbochargers, and I'm gonna probably put the higher end Garrett turbochargers on there and replace these Stage 3 CR Performance ones. Be honest with you, I couldn't really tell much difference with their Stage 3 turbochargers than the stock turbochargers. But then that's another story for another day. Okay, we got the valves in, so let's go to the next step. Now we're going to install the main bearings. We're also going to install the crankshaft. Of course, before we install the main bearings, we got a little cleaning to do to make sure there's no foreign material here. Clean them off with some either denatured alcohol or some mineral spirits. Just to get whatever mess is here. Alright. On this particular engine, we're going to be installing moly, main bearings, and rod bearings. Could not get the other brand that I used, which was, I could not get the King bearings for this engine. Couldn't get them from Summit Racing, couldn't get them locally, couldn't get them through the machine shop. Apparently there's either a problem with King bearings or a shortage. So we went ahead and decided to go with moly. So I got the first one clean. Just like before, we're going to insert it, make sure the bearing itself is clean, insert it in the block dry, of course with the slots down, or slots towards the top of the block, I should say, the center of the block. Make sure you get all the machining oil, fingerprint oil, all that off of here. Line it up, make sure you tap it in. Make sure it's seated on both sides. Put in whichever side you want to put in first. It doesn't really make that much difference. I was really surprised I couldn't get the King bearings in anything that I wanted, which they seemed to be so easy to get last time I was ordering bearings. I was quite surprised at that, and I'm kind of wondering if they the supply company or warehouse company turned 14, whatever the company is that got busted by the EPA, and I wonder if that's what the shortage is all about. Because they pretty much shut that company down for a while because of EPA fines and everything else. Good old EPA. We put the thrust washers in. Thrust bearings. Call them either way. Of course, like in the last video, we're going to get some of our assembly grease. We're going to coat our thrust washer, thrust bearing on both sides. Make sure it's got enough slippery in it. And this will also act like a makeshift glue to hold it in while we set our crank. Now, this one will go on the top. This one goes on the bottom. And the dimples go out. Just gonna hang it right in here, just like so. There's a groove here in the block, and then a small groove on each side at the top where that L-shaped piece goes in. I'll say L-shaped piece, this piece right here. Make sure you're putting the dimples the right direction. I don't think you can put it the opposite, but just in case, different manufacturers do different things. These dimples in the bearing go towards the crankshaft. Put that in there. Okay, we got two of those in. Our last one will go in with our main cap. So let's make sure we get a little excess, any excess grease here where the main cap goes, get it off of there so it does not interfere with the fit. Next we're going to get our Permatex Ultra Slick, stuff I like to call ooey gooey because it is ooey gooey, especially when it's cold. This is some good stuff. It's about $10, $11 a bottle, but at initial startup you're going to need all the assistance you can get. Make sure this engine does not run dry, or your engine does not run dry on startup. Just take a little brush instead of a finger and just brush it. It doesn't hurt to mix this stuff with the assembly grease. It doesn't hurt it at all. It's all lubricant. I almost tell you the more lubricant the better, but there is a possibility of just way overdoing it, just wasting product. Alright, got our bearings linked up. So now we're going to get the crankshaft. We got a remanufactured crankshaft. It has been turned, balanced. Everything's been done to it, and I cleaned it just before I started the video to make sure it was ready. So it is clean and ready to go. Got it installed. Make sure the thrust bearings are in place. They are. Just clean the surfaces and the mating surface for the bearing, for the cap itself to the block. I'd also pre-clean these before I send them to the machine shop. No machining was done on them. So this is going to be number 2 right there. I got too much worry about light surface rust. But you get this engine going, lubrication, moving around, this rust will resolve itself. That's going to be number 1. Just remember, clean, clean, clean. The cleaner the better. The majority of engine building is not building, it is cleaning, checking, rechecking, verifying. You always want to go back and verify your work. You hear people, crank up their engine and it doesn't last 5 minutes. That tells me they didn't verify their work. And they just threw it together with hopes and dreams. Hopes and dreams don't make any difference in engine building. Engine building is essentially pure logic. It's either yes or no. There's no other way about it. Oh, that was good. Yeah. That was really good. Ladies and gentlemen, Harbor Freight, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, they're cheap, but they're made cheap. Did not expect it to do that. Sure. These things are pretty hard, so I don't think it damaged it. It did not. Yeah, there's slop all in this thing. I bought it probably 20 years ago from Harbor Freight came out. in our area. Bought it in the engine lift that I used to remove and install the engine on the videos. Be a little bit more careful to get this off of here. Yeah, this engine stand, it's got slot back and forth in it. This doesn't fit correctly. It's got slot back and forth. When you rotate it, you have to force it forward so the hole will line up so you can pin it. Otherwise, it normally works. I mean, you make do with what you can get. I'm not going to spend $1,000 on an engine stand. That's not going to happen. These folks that ever do it, I'm glad for you, but not me. Got our bearings inserted on the main caps. I'm going to put this little ooey gooey in here just a little bit. Rub it around, cover the surface. We're going to do the same thing with our bearings that we installed. Just get decent coverage on it. You don't have to pour much. And also remember, I've got a method to preload the engine when it's fully built before we do any kind of cranking. It worked so well last time, we're going to do it on this one too, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to do it on all future engines that I build. I may come up with another setup that I can put even more pressure on the system up to, I think I can do 40 PSI right now. I'd like to be able to do at least 70, 75. Just pressurize the oil and then force it into the engine. Alright. So, let's start with, let's see. This is number 2, arrow forward. Go ahead and set it down in here. Let's see, this is number 1, arrow forward. Set it in there. This here is going to be number 3. Arrow forward. Let's see. Each one of these caps are numbered. It's got an arrow pointing forward, which denotes which way it goes. Now here's our blast main cap. You see this has got a drilled indentation in it, and then you have a relief. That's going to be for This thrust washer bearing fits in here just like this. And that's why part of the reason why I'm putting the grease on there, to hold it in there while we install it. Like so. Now up next, let's get the bolts and run them down and then do some torquing. We'll go ahead and install some of our new main bolts. We're not going to use any of the ARP lube. We're going to use basic motor oil. It's actually motor oil mixed with a little bit of that gooey. Remember last video I kind of mixed it up a little bit to lube things. Just put a little bit on it, stick it in there. And these bolts do have a little machine oil on them. It's not going to hurt. But I'm not a real big fan of torquing fasteners dry. One, you're not getting any kind of true torque. This way you're actually torquing them as the manufacturer wants you to. Two, you end up galling up threads as you're going in dry, completely dry. It's easy to cross thread. Which is a whole lot of reasons why you don't want to put in a fastener, especially a main bolt, dry. It's just not a good idea. These are also torque to yield. These are a bit different than the ARP stuff. ARP stuff is high strength. You torque it or go through a torque sequence and shoot, and they're there. These are actually torque to yield. They're designed a certain amount of torque or force gives the fastener, allows the fastener to go to maximum strength. If you over torque it, or if you torque them several times, let's go check this. I don't like the way it feels. You torque it several times, the fastener loses its strength. I'm not sure why that doesn't want to go in there, but you don't want to go in there. That's kind of odd. Take a look at that. Just a little rough spot in the threads. There she goes. Got past it. Alright. Just a little spot in the threads, I guess. Let's try it over here. Yep, that's what it is. Alright. We're going to install our main bearing. Make sure our arrow goes forward. Let's get our 13. Let's go ahead and run them down. Run them down slowly and gradually. have seated and rub it back them all off. Let's get something else other than our back the bolts off to 0. And we're going to follow our sequence to set the thrust washers and also our torque sequence for not only these bolts, but you also have another set of 8 bolts for your main go, and then you have bolts down both sides of the block. Now I'm going to generally torque the first 3 main caps to about 10 foot-pounds. Nowhere in the book does it say 10 foot-pounds. It's just a seat. Make sure these are seated and make sure the torque is equal on each of the main caps. And there's a reason why. I'll show you in just a second. And what we're going to do is we're going to pry forward on the crankshaft, while we pry backwards on the bearing cap, number 4 bearing cap. Let's see if this will fit in there. What this does is it will set the thrust bearing. So I'm pushing forward on the crank, pushing back on the bearing, main bearing cap, and that sets it. Next, we're going to torque all our main cap bolts in 2 stages. The first stage is 24 foot-pounds. Starting with number 1 here. So 2. We're going to go 3. 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. Good, crankshaft still loose. Now we're going to do the second portion of this torque, which is going to be 90 degrees. So we're going to put it on our torque angle setting of the torque wrench. Run it up to 90 degrees. So let's start again. Probably be a little easier with a bigger torque wrench. Let's go ahead and get the bigger torque wrench. Should have thought about that before I started this. struggle, turn it, and get a more accurate torque. Okay, go to number 2. Okay, set it. Go to 3. And just a little bit over. Go ahead and back that off. Start that one over again since we screwed the pooch. Go ahead and back it off. Clear that. Let's go ahead and retorque it. 24. It does happen sometimes, you just gotta be careful. It's 24. And we're doing 90 degrees again, but this time we're gonna be careful. Just to recalibrate. Okay. The difference was 111 foot-pounds the correct way and 120 the wrong way, so that's a lot of difference. That was 112. Six. And 8. And 8. $105. All right. Get our bolts torqued. Up next, we're going to put in our side bolts. Which are normally these silvery type bolts. These here, they go on the side of the block. Now, a huge portion of the cost of rebuilding one of these engines is fasteners and such you have to replace. Like I've always said in my videos, I like to use OEM hardware because it is tested, verified, just like the government tests and verifies the bolts that they use on their equipment. It is tested and verified that it actually will hold torque. It'll actually take torque. Some of these cheap bolts, unfortunately, some of these stores carry, You put 55 foot-pounds in a bolt and it's supposed to hold it, and it actually twists off, and then there you are. I'm sure all the manufacturers, when they pick hardware, they go ahead and have the hardware tested. Test it for stretch and hardness, and verify if this stuff will actually handle what it's supposed to handle. Okay. These in will go in right quick. Go back to our torque specs, and these are going to be 33 foot-pounds and then 90 degrees. These are also torque to yield bolts. They say you can reuse them. I have not yet. Two. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. And 8. And then 90 degrees. Brake. 90 degrees. Start at 1. Clear it. 2. 3. Go to 3. Number 4. Alright, then we're going to go to 5. Clear it. 6. 1/8. All right, those are torqued. See how it feels. Feels great. All right. Now I've got the dial indicator set up on the crankshaft. Go ahead and bring you over here so you can see it. I've got it set at 0. I've got the crankshaft pushed all the way forward. Let's see what we've got. I actually had it pushed all the way back. Moving it back and forth. Push it back, push it forward. That's about a thousandths in play. And 3 to 11 thousandths is an acceptable range, so we'll go ahead and continue. Okay, now it's time to assemble the rod and piston assemblies. I didn't show this in the previous video because we used all new rods and pistons. In this particular video for the 2013 I'm building, we're going to use the stock rods, which were in great condition, and then we're going to use new Manley pistons on top of them with new wrist pins and lock rings. Now what I've done, when I disassembled the engine, I marked each rod from 1 to 6 from front to back. Not what cylinder it went to, but front to back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as I took them out. Now I've gone and I've marked each piston as to which rod it's going to go to. So this one, it just so happens to be cylinder 1. Number 1 goes on rod 1. Piston number 2 goes on rod 2. Piston number 3 goes in rod 3. 4 goes on rod 4, and so on. These are not marked by cylinder. They are marked per rod as they came out. Now, when I take the forward rods out, I like to put them in the same place, just because that's the original spot. They, have worn into that spot, so I want to put it back in the same place. I also want to note, if you look at these rods, they have a little dimple on one side, nothing on the other. The dimple denotes forward. So when you put the rod in, you're going to put it in with the dimple forward like that, not like this. Dimple always goes forward on these rods on either side. So when you assemble the piston to the rod using this method, you're going to take the piston, arrow forward, same direction as the dimple on the rod, and you're just going to assemble them together like so. Now, I haven't lubricated these or anything. I'm just going to put them together and lubricate them before I put them in the engine. It's a real tight fit because it is a tight machine fit. All of this is tight machine fit. Once you get them in, then you can put your lock rings in. So let me grab those. Just so happen to have 2 of them here out of the package. Now, lock rings, normally flat side will go in, but there's no flat side on these. These are rounded with flattened ends. So we're going to take them, just take the first one. Have to get some snap or some needle nose to close in the ring. Press the pin down, take your needle nose, close in the ring, get it to go in the slot, and it locks in the slot. Go make sure the whole ring is in the slot. Do the same thing for the other side. Place it generally in there. Get your needle nose pliers. You gotta be careful because this thing, if it slips, it's likely going to shoot out. So you just got to be careful. I'm trying to do this while holding it in front of the camera. Believe me, it's a lot easier without having to do that. So we've got both lock rings in. So the piston is going to go in just like this, dimple forward. Get the arrow on the piston forward. It's going to go in cylinder 1. Pretty easy. Some other piston, other brands will have spiral rings, spiral lock rings. Some take one, some will take two on each side. Just depends on the manufacturer. This is not going to be a high horsepower, high torque application, so we just went ahead and reused the stock rods. The stock rods for the 13-14s are pretty good. So that is how you install the pistons on the rods. Up next, we'll be installing the rings on all the pistons, and we're going to carefully file the rings down this time and not have a debacle like we did on the first video. Alright guys, we have the pistons and rods assembled. We also have the rings that were filed and also installed on the pistons. I've got the bearings installed in the rods and the rod caps. So now we are ready to install the pistons in the cylinder. We're going to start with number one position on the crank, well, it just so happens to be number 1 in block. Number 1 position on the crankshaft. So we've dipped our piston in our top F fluid. And now we're going to put it in our piston installation jig. Make sure it goes in correctly, just like that. And we're also going to lube our bearing. A lot of things to do at once. Make sure our bearing's nice and lubed. It's not exactly the one I wanted to use. Let's get the Yui lube. Alright. Make sure it's on there good. And now we're going to position the piston, arrow forward. Oh, something else just about forgot. Almost forgot it. I'm going to put this piston back down in the fluid. We're going to lubricate the 3 passenger side cylinders with transmission fluid. Just about forgot that. So there's a lot of steps you got to go through in building an engine. And it's easy to forget one. You kind of got to think about it beforehand and during assembly so you don't forget anything. All we're doing is just getting a decent lubrication on the cylinder walls. That's all we're doing. Don't worry about it. Whenever it cranks up, it'll burn off. adjust our piston. Our installation tool. We're going to put it over the cylinder. Make sure it is arrow forward, which I had it arrow backwards. Make sure it fits in the cylinder. And we should be able to push it right in. Let's see here. There's a little help with our rubber mallet. While making sure. And there it is. There's the first one installed. Check our work down at the bottom, make sure everything's lined up. Make sure the bearings not come out or anything like that. Okay, it's in there. Now we just need to rotate over so we get to the rod. Put the rod cap on. It's all the way down. Check you, make sure everything's still in there. Bearing didn't slip out. Now I did go ahead and mark the rods and caps. You can see this is going to be the front. These rods are specifically, they were specifically cracked, and only the cap for that rod fits on that rod. As far as I know, you can't remachine them to fit something else. They literally crack these rods, and what you're putting back together is the area that's cracked. Why they do that, I don't know. I'm not familiar with that method of manufacturing rods. If you take your rods and look at them, you can actually see where they're cracked. They match up pretty decently. They don't match up like the Manley rods. Manley rods, you put the cap on the rod, you can't even see where the rod meets the cap. It is so fine. The line actually disappears. So we've got that one on. Let's go ahead and rotate over and we'll put in number 3. And remember, this is not cylinder 3. This is crank position number 3. This is position 1, position 2, position 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're gonna get number, let's see, number 3. Do the same thing. Move up the bearing. And we're going to dip piston in the Type F transmission fluid. Take the piston out, drain it out. Position it correctly. It's going to go in the block. With our tool over it. The tool helps us match the rings into position. We've got that. Let's go ahead and put it in the cylinder. Line it up. Some of these you can push all the way in, some you cannot. Make sure the arrow's forward. Gets down to a certain point. check, make sure we're lined up. Have to turn it just a tad. Looks like we're lined up. Not quite. It's actually turned the wrong way a little bit as I was tapping on it. Let's rotate our engine a little bit. Line up. Turn our piston just a tad. Just gonna let us do it. Probably not. Let's see here. Rotate our engine up a little bit more. There we go. And she's in. Just didn't want to go down for some reason. Got it on there. Up. Make this a little easier. Decided to run it up with an 11mm. Make sure. Alright. Got that one. Check our rotation. Make sure we're not locked up. There we go. Rotating. And we're going to put it here at number 5 position on the crankshaft. We're going to do this exact same thing. Tip it, loop it. Get our tool. Dump it out there. Put our tool over it. Fits fantastically. And let's put it in. I'm going to put it in the right way. Push it back up a bit. The rod wants to go offset a little bit on the offset just a little bit on the does that, it creates problems getting on the crank. Yep. Got that in. Rotate our crank over while pressing down. To the bottom. So you can see where we are. Seated. Yeah, I don't like these bearings at all. I don't believe I'm gonna be buying these anymore. Never had bearings once locked in try to come out while you're installing the rod. Never had that happen before, but it's happening now. So. Second, markings forward. Yep. Same issue as before. Look, I mean, that's ridiculous. I press the bearing in, and it just falls out. That's crazy. Such is life. Run it up. All right. We got the first three in. Now that you've seen again, like in the first video, how to install the pistons, I'm going to go ahead and install the last three, and then we'll move on to the next item. So now we've got the pistons, rods, rod caps installed with the bearings. We're going to go ahead and torque them. First torque is 17 foot-pounds. Next torque is 32 foot-pounds, and then 90 degrees. So we did the 17 on all of them first. Rotate it over. Next set. Rotate it again. Okay, we're gonna bump it up to 32. Set her over. Once again. All right, now our 90 degrees. Clear. 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 Clear, roll it over. Let's recalibrate. Clear. Clear. Yep, let's try this. I'm gonna bust my knuckles on that. Okay, roll it over one more time. Nope, went too far on that one. 97 degrees. I'm gonna back it off just a hair. So we are. And that should do it. The main, or for the rod bolts. I'm gonna check it. Rolls over excellently, nice and smooth, no hang-ups, no drags, everything feels great. Now we're going to put on the main girdle, the main bolts. First torque is 18 foot-pounds, second torque is 180 degrees. We have a torque sequence to follow. Put your main girdle on. Of course, it's got an arrow right there. It tells you the front. Go ahead and get my lube here. Just a little bit of oil here on the threads. Pretty nice looking bolts. We're not cheap. Just go ahead and run them down. Because it's here. First torque, 17. Or excuse me, 18. Pump it up a little bit. Okay. Goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's pretty easy to remember. Oh shoot, that ain't hardly any. Do 180 degrees. Let's see how this works out. You may have to get the bigger torque wrench. 2. Alright, got the girdle, the last set of mains torqued. Okay, next we've got our super duper milling oil pump. And to bust this loose before the video started, it did not want to come loose. It was in there. What we're going to do is we're going to change out the pump spring. There's no reason to have 100 psi pressure on this engine. Doesn't need it. Most likely doesn't want it. That's the blue spring that comes in it. What we're going to do is replace it with the brown spring. Put the brown spring in. Rethread the cap. Just tighten it down. That's good enough. Now, pull the crank pulley off. The crank pulley bolt. Pull it off there. Okay, a little slicking, assembly grease. Assembly grease is going to make it more predictable to get this pump on and lined up. This right here likes to move big time when you're trying to line everything up. Kind of makes it a pain. Let's see here. Right there at it. Just about there. It's not quite. So let's rotate this around a little. Let's see. It's one of those deals, just like in the last video, it's a little bit like trial and error to get it to line up. Once you get it lined up, it'll go right on. Just like that. So what we're gonna do next, we're gonna install the bolts. And then install the pickup tube. Now we're gonna install 3 of our oil pump bolts. Right now, the other bolts will be installed later with our timing components. It's just these 3 here, 2 here, 1 right here. We're just going to put them in at this point and not torque them yet. These bolts torque at 89 inch-pounds. Before we torque them, we're going to install our oil pickup tube. Our oil pump comes with a new pickup tube O-ring, so we're going to replace this one. Always replace that O-ring no matter if the old one looks good or not. So we're going to put this on here. We've got 3 bolts. All 3 bolts are pretty much the same. All right, putting this tube on before I torque the bolts normally on the oil pump, just so nothing's in a bind. So let's go ahead and tighten these down. Okay, we got our 89 inch-pounds. Let's go ahead and torque this. Now you may notice I'm not doing the exact same sequence as I did in the first build. That's okay. As long as you get the components in the order that you need to, it really doesn't make any difference. Let me go ahead and torque these oil pump bolts. Starting them center and move out. Now we got the pickup tube, get the oil pump. Now we're gonna have to do the rear cover with the rear main seal. So that's up next. Now I've relocated the block over to the engine hoist. Better than bringing the engine hoist over to the block, I've taken the engine stand off of the block and suspended it with 2 old head bolts. You got to do this to put the rear plate with the rear main seal in it. Now this is the rear plate, this is the replacement one. It doesn't always look like the factory one. I believe on 11 and 12 the factory one is aluminum, and they replace it with this. Now I've already got the seal lubed up with grease. I've already got the crankshaft lubed up with grease. What we have to do now is apply the sealer. I'm going to apply it slowly. Try not to put too much on there. Just about an 1/8 inch. You want to encircle the bolt holes just to ensure it's not going to leak. Just make sure you join them all together. Go down to the bottom. Just check your work. Just make sure you got plenty of sealer in there. You don't have to glob it on, but you want enough. And we've got that done. So next, we're going to put it on. And this is how I suggest slip it over. Just like I showed you in the last video, get you a feeler gauge, a pretty stiff feeler gauge. And you put it up on the engine or on the crankshaft. You're going to have to overlap the seal over the crank surface. You want to be really careful. You slightly press in. Just work your way around, and it slides right on. Now once you've got it on there, don't pull it off or you'll mess up your sealer. And this is that fast setting sealer. This is that 1 minute stuff from the right stuff. If I can't get hold of the Ford stuff or if it's too much, I use the right stuff. It has held up, you know, really, really well on all the projects I've used it on. I don't like, you know, used to use just, you know, your standard RTV that comes in the little squeeze tubes. And the last time I bought some of it, it was the right stuff in the squeeze tube. I didn't even get the entire oil pan done. The tube had a giant hole or a giant airspace in the tube. So I got so far and then poof, here comes the air out. And I didn't even, I barely was able to complete the oil pan on the last one. So I had to go back and buy this stuff. This stuff's about 30 bucks a tube. It's not cheap, but I don't believe you'll ever have to come back and fix an oil leak because of it, because it really works quite well. Let's run our bolts down. Just going to take it easy, run them down. They don't get much torque to begin with, so we don't want to over torque it right off the bat. We have a torque sequence also we need to follow. We're just going to bring them up where they touch. Now we're going to torque them to 89 inch-pounds, following our torque sequence. And our torque sequence is here. I don't know if you can see it very well. That is our torque sequence. So here we go. I have to run this down a little bit more. Here's one. Not a whole lot. 2. It's going to be this one. And we have 3, which is next to 1. Run it in by finger. And this one in by finger. Four over here. Five is this one. 6 will be down here. 7 will be up here. And 8 down here. Quit wiggling. Okay, got the rear plate on with the rear main seal. Now we're just going to put it back on the engine stand and get it back over to our build area so we can put the oil pan on.